The morning light spills gently through the curtains. Eleanor stands by the window, her breath slow and quiet. Outside, the world moves softly, like it's waking up with her. She lifts her arm just a little, feeling the tight pull in her shoulder. It's not pain, just a whisper of time passing. She remembers when her body moved without asking for permission. When she could reach high shelves, hug tightly, wave without effort. Now, every movement feels like a conversation with her past. She smiles, small and knowing, because she understands this body has stories. Each ache is a memory of something once loved, once lived. Eleanor rolls her shoulders, slow and careful, like turning the pages of a book. The stiffness softens, just slightly enough to make her sigh. She hears the kettle sing from the kitchen, steady and warm. Today she will stretch, not to fight age, but to greet it kindly. She moves her fingers across her collarbone, tracing the rhythm of her breath. Her reflection catches her eye, calm, silver-haired, alive. Eleanor whispers to herself, "Slow is strong." And with that, she begins again. Eleanor sits in a quiet room filled with morning light. The air smells faintly of chamomile and wooden floors. She sits on a chair by the window, her hands resting on her knees. Today is her first session with Daniel, the physiotherapist. He arrives with a calm smile and eyes that carry patience. His voice is soft, steady, like someone who listens more than he speaks. "Before we move," he says, "let's listen." Eleanor blinks, uncertain what he means. "Listen to what?" she asks. Daniel places his hand gently on his own shoulder. "To this," he says, tapping lightly. "It tells you more than you think." Eleanor hesitates, then mirrors his gesture. Her palm meets her shoulder, warm, firm, familiar yet strange. She feels the pulse of her own body, quiet and rhythmic. Daniel continues, "Your shoulders remember your story." Eleanor lets his words settle inside her like dust in sunlight. She wonders what her shoulders remember. Maybe the weight of grocery bags carried up long staircases. Maybe the softness of a child asleep against her chest. Maybe the way they tensed every time she held back tears. Daniel tells her to close her eyes and breathe slowly. "Inhale through the nose," he says, "and let your shoulders rise gently." Eleanor follows, her breath shaky but sincere. The air feels heavy at first, like lifting a memory. Then as she exhales, her shoulders drop with a quiet sigh. Daniel smiles. "That's it, listening is movement too." Eleanor opens her eyes and feels something shift inside. It's not strength, not yet, but awareness. She notices how one shoulder sits higher than the other. How the left feels more stubborn, the right more fragile. Daniel kneels beside her and guides her through small circles. "Don't force it," he says. "Let it be slow like the tide." Eleanor moves her shoulders in gentle rotations. The sound of the movement is almost like silk brushing wood. At first it feels mechanical, then strangely graceful. Her breath finds rhythm with the motion. Inhale, lift, exhale, release. Daniel's voice becomes softer, blending with the quiet morning. He says, "This is how strength begins, not by pushing, but by listening." Eleanor nods, though her eyes are still closed. She feels warmth spread through her back, tiny sparks of relief. It's as if her body has been waiting for permission to soften. She realizes she's been carrying herself like a shield, always ready to bear the weight of worry, of duty, of time. But now here, she's learning to trust stillness. Daniel asks, "How does it feel?" Eleanor pauses before answering. "It feels like breathing for the first time in a long while." Daniel chuckles softly. "That's the sound of your body saying thank you." She laughs quietly, a sound almost forgotten to her own ears. Outside, the wind stirs the leaves, echoing their rhythm. Inside, Eleanor's shoulders find a little more peace with every breath. She doesn't know it yet, but this is the beginning of her return. not to who she was, but to who she still is. The next morning, the room feels brighter somehow. Eleanor sits again by the same window, the same soft light falling across her shoulders. Daniel is already there, arranging a small mat on the floor. "Today," he says gently, "we move a little more." Eleanor smiles nervously, her fingers tracing the edge of the chair. She feels both ready and hesitant, like standing before a door she's afraid to open. Daniel notices her pause. "It's not about how far you go," he says. "It's about how gently you begin." He steps beside her and demonstrates the motion. "Sit tall, let your spine rise like a string pulling you upward." Eleanor follows, feeling her back stretch and lengthen. "Now," Daniel continues, "draw your shoulders back slowly, then down." She moves, cautious but curious. The muscles along her neck awaken with a small tug. It's not painful, just unfamiliar, like remembering a language she once spoke. Daniel's voice guides her through each turn. "Inhale as your shoulders rise, exhale as they fall." The rhythm feels soothing, like waves meeting the shore. Eleanor's breath deepens, her mind following the pace of her body. The tension she carried starts to loosen, one layer at a time. She hears a soft pop in her right shoulder and laughs. Daniel laughs too, nodding. "That's your body saying hello." She circles her arms wider now, slow arcs through the morning air. The movement paints invisible loops of patience around her. Daniel adds, "Imagine you're drawing calmness into the room." Eleanor smiles, eyes closed, and lets her arms move like water. Each circle grows smoother, lighter, freer. The sound of her breath fills the silence, steady, calm, alive. She feels warmth spreading through her arms, like sunlight on old wood. For a moment, she forgets she's exercising. It feels more like dancing with air, with memory, with peace. Daniel speaks softly, almost like a whisper. "When we move slowly, we teach the body trust." Eleanor nods, feeling every word in her bones. Her shoulders lift again, slower this time, graceful and strong. Then they sink back down, carrying away the weight of yesterday. The stiffness doesn't vanish, but it no longer feels like resistance. It feels like something that wants to heal. She opens her eyes and sees the light shifting through the curtains. Dust floats in golden streams, moving just as she moves. Daniel tells her to rest her hands on her thighs and close her eyes. "Notice the space you've created," he says. Eleanor breathes in, the air cool and new. She breathes out, her shoulders softer than before. "I feel lighter," she whispers. Daniel nods quietly. "That's the stretch working, but it's also your courage." The room falls into a warm, easy silence. Eleanor stays still, feeling her heartbeat match the rhythm of her breath. For the first time in years, she feels not older but alive. And she knows, deep down, that this small, slow motion is the beginning of strength. The day begins with a quiet hum of rain against the window. Eleanor sits on her chair, hands resting gently on her lap. Daniel's voice comes through softly, steady and warm. "Today, we'll let your breath lead the way," he says. Eleanor nods, closing her eyes as she inhales. The air moves through her chest like a calm tide. Her shoulders rise, slow and patient, following the rhythm of breath. Then she exhales, feeling them fall like leaves drifting from a tree. Daniel whispers, "Good. Let every breath be a message of ease." She listens to the sound, inhale, exhale, a simple, ancient melody. Each breath feels like a wave washing through the stiffness. She begins to notice the pauses between them, tiny spaces of peace. Daniel tells her, "Let the breath guide your motion, not force it." Eleanor lifts her shoulders again, this time with the rhythm of her lungs. The movement becomes smoother, quieter, almost invisible. She thinks of how she once held her breath when life got heavy. How often she forgot to breathe fully when things went wrong. Now she lets the air in freely, without fear, without hesitation. Her body answers back with warmth, as if saying thank you. Daniel moves closer, his tone almost a murmur. Breathing is the bridge, he says, between effort and calm. Eleanor feels it, the connection between movement and peace. Her shoulders rotate in slow circles, rising with the inhale, sinking with the exhale. The rhythm feels natural, like the ocean she used to visit as a girl. She can almost hear the waves again, soft and endless. Her arms grow lighter, her spine taller, her breath longer. She senses her heartbeat slowing, matching the calm around her. Daniel says, "Now, hold your breath gently for a second before you release." Eleanor does, and in that stillness, time feels suspended. She hears the rain, the faint creak of the floor, the whisper of her own breath. Everything becomes simple, just inhale, exhale, be. When she releases, the sound of the exhale feels like forgiveness. She hadn't realized how much she'd been holding in. Memories, regrets, unspoken words, all leaving with every breath. Daniel smiles, noticing the softness in her face. "You're not just moving your body," he says. "You're moving through years." Eleanor opens her eyes slowly, the world clearer, lighter, kinder. The rain outside has softened, becoming part of the rhythm. She feels her shoulders, warm and alive, no longer foreign to her. Her breath and movement have become one, quiet and strong. She looks at Daniel, gratitude glowing in her tired but gentle eyes. "I think," she says softly, "I finally remember how to breathe." Daniel nods, smiling. "Then you've already learned the hardest part." Eleanor looks out the window, the sky brightening between clouds. Every drop of rain feels like a new beginning. And as she breathes again, slow and full, she knows this is how healing sounds. The next session begins with sunlight spilling across the floor. Eleanor feels calmer now, her breath steady, her movements more sure. Daniel stands beside her, his voice soft but clear. "Today," he says, "we'll learn to find strength in stillness." Eleanor tilts her head, curious. She's always believed strength meant movement, effort pushing through. Daniel smiles, as if reading her thoughts. "Sometimes," he says, "real strength is the ability to stay." He asks her to stand, feet planted firmly, back straight but relaxed. Her hands rest gently at her sides, fingers slightly curled. "Now raise your arms slowly," he says. "Stop when you feel them hover." Eleanor lifts them, stopping when her muscles whisper for pause. She holds them there, arms trembling slightly under their own weight. The silence deepens, filled only with her steady breathing. Daniel says quietly, "Don't fight the tremble, it's your body learning balance." She breathes through the effort, her arms shaking, her heart calm. It feels like standing inside a moment that refuses to move. Her shoulders begin to burn, a soft ache blooming beneath the skin. Daniel counts slowly, 5, 4, 3. Eleanor exhales with each number, steady, grounded, unafraid. By the time he says 1, she lowers her arms with care. The warmth in her shoulders spreads like sunlight after rain. She smiles faintly, surprised at how good the stillness feels. Daniel nods. "That's strength, not the push, but the patience." He asks her to repeat it, but slower, with more attention. Eleanor lifts again, this time focusing on the breath. Inhale, rise, hold, exhale, stay. Her arms find a rhythm that feels less like work, more like presence. The shaking returns, but it no longer feels like weakness. It feels alive, like proof that her body is listening. Daniel steps back, giving her space to own the moment. "Feel how your muscles hold you," he says softly, "how the air carries you." Eleanor closes her eyes, standing tall and still. In that quiet, she senses more than physical effort. She feels trust building, in her body, in time, in herself. When she lowers her arms again, she does it slowly, like lowering wings. Daniel smiles. "You see, Stillness builds its own kind of power. Eleanor laughs softly. It's harder than it looks. Yes, he replies, because patience weighs more than motion. They both laugh, the sound light and grounding. Eleanor rolls her shoulders gently, feeling warmth instead of pain. For the first time, she feels her strength not in what she can lift, but in what she can hold. The stillness lingers even after the exercise ends. It hums beneath her skin, quiet and certain. Eleanor sits back down, breath slow, shoulders open. And in the glow of that morning, she realizes stillness isn't empty. It's full of strength waiting to be heard. The afternoon light glows soft and golden across the room. Eleanor sits quietly, her shoulders warm from the slow practice. Daniel pours 2 cups of tea, the steam curling like whispers in the air. He hands her one and says, "Every movement carries a memory." Eleanor tilts her head, intrigued. "What do you mean?" she asks softly. Daniel smiles. "Your shoulders remember everything you've ever reached for." She takes a sip of tea, the warmth spreading through her chest. Her mind drifts to years long gone, faces and moments that live inside her body. She remembers reaching up to hang curtains in her first apartment. The way her arms trembled with excitement and exhaustion. She remembers holding her baby for the first time, her shoulders aching with love. She remembers painting walls, pushing furniture, waving goodbye at airports. Each memory rests quietly beneath her skin. She places her hands on her shoulders, feeling the faint echo of it all. Daniel says, "When you stretch, you're not just moving muscles, you're touching time." Eleanor nods, eyes glistening. Her heart heavier, yet lighter all at once. She begins to move slowly, rolling her shoulders in wide, gentle circles. With every motion, she feels old stories unfolding. The stiff ache feels almost like a language she's relearning. Daniel's voice is calm and steady beside her. "Let your body tell its story," he says. "Don't rush it." Eleanor breathes deeply, her shoulders moving in slow, deliberate rhythm. She feels her body soften, as though forgiving itself for years of silence. Each rotation brings a new image, a moment from her life returning like a wave. Her mother's laughter as they danced in the kitchen. The sound of rain when she hugged her husband goodbye. The tiny hands of her child reaching up, trusting her strength. Eleanor feels tears at the edge of her breath, but she doesn't hide them. Daniel says quietly, "Movement is memory made visible." She nods, wiping her cheek, smiling through the ache. It doesn't hurt, it hums, alive and honest. Her breath deepens, sinking with the soft circles of her motion. The room feels larger, like her memories have filled it completely. Every inhale is a return, every exhale a release. She whispers to herself, "I didn't know healing could feel like remembering." Daniel places a hand over his heart. That's where strength truly begins. Eleanor looks out the window, the sun dipping low and kind. Her shoulders feel open, lighter, as if she shed invisible weight. The stiffness is still there, but it no longer feels like resistance. It feels like a companion, something that has always walked with her. She rolls her shoulders one last time, smiling. Daniel nods approvingly, saying nothing more. And in that quiet, Eleanor understands something simple and sacred. Her shoulders don't just carry her body, they carry her life. And in every gentle stretch, she is learning to hold that life with grace. Something went wrong while generating the response. If this issue persists, please contact us through our help center at help.com, th letter 1 L letter 1 The morning is quiet again, soft light spilling across the room. Eleanor stands by the window, her shoulders relaxed, her breath calm. She moves slowly, lifting her arms with ease and grace. The motion feels familiar now, like a song she finally remembers. Her reflection smiles back, gentle and sure. Daniel's words echo in her mind, "Slow is strong." She inhales deeply, the air cool and kind against her skin. Her shoulders rise, then fall like waves finding shore. There is no strain, no hurry, only peace in the rhythm. Outside, the trees sway softly, mirroring her quiet motion. She realizes that strength isn't found in speed or force. It's found in the patience to begin again each day. Her body feels lighter, her heart steady and warm. The stiffness has become a teacher, not an enemy. Eleanor whispers to herself, "I am still strong, still here." She closes her eyes, feeling her breath carry her forward. Each inhale a promise, each exhale a quiet joy. The morning holds her gently, like an old friend. And in that stillness, Eleanor finally feels whole.